They're here.
So yeah, I mean, at first, I just didn't know what to do.
At first, Daddy was confused.
I didn't know it was going to affect people in Nassau and Freeport.
And then I told him it was just the first 3 numbers.
Our new phone numbers have arrived, but there is no need to be afraid. Only the first 3 numbers have changed. The new numbers are in effect now.
2 Bahamians face the death penalty in Florida. Tonight, we'll tell you why. The health minister giving an update on investigations into flesh-eating bacteria.
We should just people to be careful.
Dr. Hubert Minnis appalled that Keith Bell would call the PSA a tool of the F&M.
Keith Bell saying that he and the PLP are afraid of democracy.
Billionaire Peter Nygaard wants to build a mega medical facility in the Bahamas, plus Miss Earth Bahamas preparing for an international pageant.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm Nakia DeVoe, and this is NB12 Weekend. Thanks for joining us here at Cable 12 Studios. Here are the stories coming out of the NB12 newsroom this weekend. First up tonight, 2 men from the Bahamas facing possible death sentences in the United States after they received multiple charges in a Florida court last week, including attempted smuggling and involuntary manslaughter. This after their boat carrying Bahamian, Jamaican, and Haitian immigrants to the U.S. during an alleged smuggling operation capsized, resulting in the death of 4 women. 53-year-old boat captain Neyman Davis and 38-year-old crewman George Lewis were charged with encouraging and inducing aliens to enter the United States, resulting in death. Davis is also charged with involuntary manslaughter. Now, if convicted, the pair faces a maximum sentence of life in prison or death. According to the indictment released by the U.S. Attorney's Office, 4 Jamaicans were also charged in the case. 30-year-old Matthew Williams, 40-year-old Everton Jones, and 35-year-old Kennard Hagagal were charged with illegal re-entry into the United States by an aggravated felon. Those men face up to 20 years in prison. 37-year-old Sean Gaynor was charged with illegal re-entry into the United States. Now, the 2 Bahamians, Davis and Lewis, are believed to be the masterminds of the alleged smuggling trip from the Bahamas that turned deadly. The boat carrying Bahamians, Jamaicans, and Haitians to Florida overturned 7 miles east of Miami last week. Florida authorities recently released the 911 call that captured the chilling screams of several passengers.
Miami-Dade County Police and Fire, where's the emergency?
Yeah, we 25 miles out from South Beach. We need a rescue out here fast.
Stay with me on the line. Do not hang up. I'm trying to get ahead on you. Can you tell me what your GPS coordinates are? Hello? Hello?
Ma'am?
What's going on, sir?
25 miles out.
Okay, and what happened?
The boat is sinking.
Okay, what kind of boat are you on? Sir? Hello? Hello?
4 women drowned. 3 of them were identified as Haitian nationals Lodelia Escarment, Carmen Valaris, and Woodline Alexis. The 4th woman remains unidentified. The 11 survivors, including the 6 men who were charged, were found hanging onto the capsized boat on October 17th. The other 5 survivors, 4 Haitians and 1 Bahamian, are considered witnesses. Well, Davis and Lewis had no legal representation. At this point, it is unclear when those 2 Bahamians will be back before a Florida judge. NB12 will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest details as they become available. Bahamians and visitors to the Bahamas are being advised to take caution when going into salty water. This after one case of Vibrio vulnificus infection, the cause of a potentially deadly flesh-eating bacteria, was confirmed by Dr. Perry Gomez last week. Well, he is now shedding a little more light on the situation that has sparked fear among many in the Bahamas. Dr. Gomez explained that not everyone is at risk of contracting the bacteria that thrives in brackish water and highlighted who should stay out of the water. And just to be clear, brackish water is defined as water that has more salinity than fresh water, but is not as salty as seawater.
So just people to be careful in going in brackish water and try not to get cuts and bruises. And if you have those, don't go in the water. If you read the text, it will tell you it's more likely to happen in people who are immunosuppressed. And there are many reasons to be immunosuppressed.
People who are immunocompromised, especially those with chronic liver disease, are most at risk for vulnificus when they are in contact with salty water or eat raw seafood. Dr. Gomez dismissed rumors that at least 3 people were infected in the Bahamas. He also told NB12 what the government is doing to find out if there is the possibility of widespread infection like in Florida, where at last report more than 30 people were infected with the bacteria and 10 people died from it.
We are fortunate there haven't been any other cases. The ministry is looking into doing some assessments in the various, along with the environment, looking at trying to quantitate the levels of bacteria in various high-risk areas, the brackish water and so on, which is the normal habitat for the organism. And it would be interesting to see the kind of levels of organisms in certain areas where water, of the brackish waters, so that we'll know in the future, and to compare in future to see whether the levels fluctuate or they remain constant. So it's an issue of the science of it.
Well, here at home, the victim of that bacteria is still in hospital being treated. The Bahamian male was reportedly out wading in brackish water while hunting pigeons in Andros, where it is believed he contracted the bacteria. And while Dr. Gomez is warning Bahamians to be cautious, he said there is no need for alarm. He also stressed that there is no reason for people to avoid the beaches.
The question would be why now? The bugs live in the water, and people are in the water year-round. Or is it they're always just healthy people in the water? No, you see what I mean? So it's the difficult point to make.
Right, but there's no reason to advise people to stay out of it?
No, I wouldn't think so, not at all.
Again, people with open wounds or broken skin and those with weak immune systems are advised to stay out of brackish water. To date, no one has reportedly been infected while in seawater in the Bahamas. In other news, leader of the Free National Movement, Dr. Hubert Minnis, today responding to recent comments made by Minister of State for National Security Keith Bell. On Friday, Bell told NB12 that he believed the PSA was a tool of the FNM, adding that action should be taken against its executives. But Minnis called Bell's comments ridiculous and untrue, saying Bell should not criticize the PSA for its right to free speech. He added that any organization that feels the need to criticize should be able to do so without themselves being criticized.
The Police Staff Association, they're a group of professional, intelligent individuals who are more concerned with justice, honesty, transparency, and the rule of the law. They have a right, like every Bahamian, if they feel that there's any injustice to them, they have a right to speak out, they have a right to investigate, and they have a right to ensure that they too receive fair and honest play. Is Keith Bell, and that's democracy. That's what democracy is all about. That's what the entire Boehmer Road was all about. Is Keith Bell saying that he and the PLP are afraid of democracy? They're afraid of people speaking out for their own civil rights. They're afraid of people trying to protect and garner their own civil right.
Well, tensions between the government and PSA have been brewing for several weeks as the association continues its demand for more compensation for officers. Bell blasted PSA Executive Chairman Inspector Dwight Smith, who said this week the association would not back down from its threat to take legal action over compensation associated with the new 12-hour shifts. Minnis called Bell's comments a threat to democracy.
They're only speaking out for democracy. That's all that's about. So once you're speaking out for democracy, according to Bell's statement, you are a tool of the FNM. I only want to say to him that if speaking out, meaning that you are a tool of democracy, you are a tool of the FNM, then I invite people, because all they're doing is speaking out for democracy, which the FNM believes in. So those who believe in democracy are, according to Bell, FNMs. And the whole Bahamians, I would think, are pushing towards democracy and transparency. So the police, they are within their rights to speak out and ensure that they themselves, as Bahamians, are receiving fair play. That's all this is about.
Meantime, PSA executives said yesterday that they are insulted by Bell's recent comments. Well, a close call for guests at the world-famous one and only Ocean Club last night. A fire broke out at one of the building blocks at the Paradise Island Resort around 11:30. 10 rooms were affected. We're told that the fire department was alerted to the blaze, which was contained to the roof of a block at the Crescent Wing and extinguished a short time later. Now, all guests were immediately evacuated from that wing during the blaze, but were eventually returned to their rooms or relocated. There were no injuries reported. Atlantis officials say the cause of the fire is under investigation. However, a few guests took to social media claiming that fireworks and strong winds were the cause of the fire. As for the cost of the damage, that is still unknown. Officials say the damage is being assessed. When NV12 comes back, we'll talk about big plans for the Bahamas' medical tourism industry.